All right, if you're deep into computer science, you've probably heard a ton about big data as this huge technical hurdle, right? Well, today, we're going to flip that script. We're talking about how to transform that challenge into a massive business opportunity. It's time to look beyond the code and see how real organizations are actually making this stuff work.
We're going to be your guides as we dive deep into Chapter 18 from Big Data for Dummies. We're basically using it to create a real-world playbook. Think of this as your guide to applying all these cool concepts inside an actual company.
So, here's what's on the docket. First, we'll tackle the big data business case, the why. Then, we'll get into designing your implementation roadmap, that's the how. After that, it's all about assembling your team, the who. And we'll wrap up by talking about making that very first move.
Okay, let's kick things off with the big data business case. Now, I get it. If you're coming from a tech background, this part can feel a little fuzzy. But trust me, it is arguably the most critical piece of the puzzle. It's all about bridging the gap between the incredible tools you're learning to build and the stuff a business really truly cares about: costs and outcomes.
And it all boils down to this one simple but powerful question. What is your data really worth? Seriously. Answering this forces a huge mental shift. You stop seeing data as just, bits and bytes to be stuffed onto a server. Instead, you start seeing it for what it is, a priceless business asset. An asset that can literally shape strategy, generate new revenue, and solve some really tough problems.
So, let's make this real. How do these big economic questions actually play out? Imagine you're a brand manager, and your job is to figure out what people really think about your product. So, what data do you need? Well, you're going to want social media posts, customer support chats, survey answers, the whole shebang. How frequently? You need that stuff in real time. You can't wait a week to find out about a PR disaster. How long do you keep it? Probably for a good while, right? To see how sentiment changes over years. And then the big one, can you trust it? This is so important. If your data sources are garbage, your entire strategy will be built on sand.
And that brings us to this number, 80%. Just let that sink in. About 80% of all the data a company has is unstructured. We're talking emails, social media comments, product reviews, support tickets, all of it. This is a massive, untapped gold mine of insights. And guess what? Unlocking it requires the exact kind of skills you're learning right now.
So, how do you convince the higher-ups to fund a project like this? You talk their language, return on investment, or ROI. It's actually pretty simple. You've got your costs on one side, things like new tech, maybe some Hadoop clusters, and hiring talented people, like you. And on the other side, you've got the potential outcomes: more revenue, better efficiency, maybe even discovering a whole new product line. As long as the outcomes on the right are worth more than the costs on the left, you've got a winning argument.
All right, so once you've made that solid business case, it flows right into our next topic: designing your implementation roadmap. You've got the green light. Awesome. Now you need a plan. This is where the rubber meets the road, where your big ideas and technical plans turn into an actual step-by-step project.
And a good roadmap really has 4 key phases. You start by identifying exactly what data you need. Then, you figure out the tech impact. Can our current systems handle this, or are we building something from scratch? After that, you've got to project your capacity needs. And not just for today, but think about a year from now, 5 years from now. And once you have all that figured out, you can finally put together a realistic timeline.
And that timeline, well, it's going to vary a lot. A small project, say analyzing a couple hundred gigs of data for a one-off report, you might knock that out in a few weeks. But a massive initiative, analyzing petabytes of data that's growing every single month, you're looking at a multi-month effort with some serious planning needed for things like data retention and scaling. Getting this part right from the beginning is absolutely key to keeping everyone happy.
Okay, so this brings us to what might be the most important ingredient of all: the people. You can have the fanciest tech and the most brilliant roadmap in the world, but if you don't have the right team, it's just not going to work. It's never just about the tech. It's always about the talent.
I like to think of it like putting together a crew for a mission. You need the business team. They're your mission commanders, the ones who know the destination. You need your existing IT team. They're the engineers who know the ship inside and out. You might bring on some consultants, your expert navigators for charting a new course. And of course, you absolutely need the new hires, the data scientists. You're the pilots, the ones who are actually flying the ship and making sense of everything you discover out there.
And that leads perfectly to this quote. This is a direct call to action for every single one of you listening. Right now, a lot of the tools are clunky, they're complicated. The future, the real opportunity, is in building solutions that hide all that complexity, that make it easy for anyone to tap into the power of big data. And who's going to build those solutions? You are.
Okay, we've talked about the why, the how, and the who. So let's bring it all home and talk about making your first move. How do you actually get this whole thing off the ground?
Think of this as your getting started cheat sheet. First off, build that dream team. And don't be afraid to bring in consultants to get a jump start. Next, be ready to roll up your sleeves and work with some low-level tools, especially at the beginning. You have to be willing to experiment constantly, because this field is always changing. Also, look for help from vendors. See if they have packaged solutions you can use. And finally, and this is huge, set clear goals for the short and long term and get them down in a 1 or 2 year roadmap.
So when you boil it all down, getting started is all about having that solid plan. But once you're up and running, a whole new set of challenges appears. That's why in our next chapter, we're going to tackle the super important topics of security and governance. Because with great data comes great responsibility, right? So let me leave you with this one final thought. As a computer science student, you're building a ridiculously powerful toolkit. The real question, the one that defines your career, isn't if you can build something amazing. It's deciding what to build. You have the skills. So what business problem are you going to solve first?